Last time on the Blondies MX5 World Tour.
Here they are, the lights off and away they go. And Koemans has got off to a good start.
Yeah, it's going to be a race of attrition, this one. That chicane's going to make a big difference, Sam.
And Richard Ekholm was a poor victim of the first lap in the chicane. He got a slowdown penalty.
Koemans has been off, he's been given a slowdown penalty, but Frieders was right on his rear bumper. Frieders flicks to the outside. João Frieders is going to lead lap 2 of this race. McAleer gets off at the end of a chicane from 5th position, hard into the outside wall, and Sam McAleer has no control as he goes down into the final corner. And Koemans has got slowdown penalty, he's given up even more spots now.
Amjad Yaman consistently running faster than João Frieders in the lead, and is now right on his bumper, 2 tenths behind, and this is looking just like the first race of the season.
But Lanouette, he did not have a single top 10 in about the first 5 races this year, and in the last 4 races he has had 3 top 10s, so he has certainly came alive late into the season. And Frieders is going defensive, but as they battle, Koemans is actually closing in on them a little bit.
Yeah, those 2 cars in front are Hiro Kanaya and Andy Morgan battling for the 21st position.
And Yaman gets loose.
He may get a slowdown penalty once again, I hope not.
Frieders went off at the chicane. Amjad Yaman is your new leader. He just had the bumper cam from Frieders on Koemans going through the chicane. Koemans had all 4 wheels up in the air.
As Amjad Yaman is now coming into pits.
Yes, sir, he is, and Frieders is going to follow. At the same time as Koemans stopped, 13.3 seconds. Frieders jumps him, though.
Frieders came out in front of Yaman, and just tell me where Jan Koemans is at this point. Has he passed him?
He's 2 cars behind. He has not passed them.
And Koemans looking on the inside of Amjad Yaman.
And takes it easily.
So Koemans goes by, Yaman says, "What's up, Doc?" and leaves the building, and Frieders now able to extend a bit of a lead on them. Here they come through the final turn, clip that apex nicely. They've got about the same pace, but that's not good for Frieders, because Koemans has a slipstream, but Frieders says, if you're going to go by me, Koemans, you're going to have to go on the outside. Koemans says, all right, I think I can make this work. He's going to get laid on the brakes, and Frieders, they're side by side. Yaman waiting for one of them to make a mistake, and it's Koemans who does it. Yaman looks down the inside into second, but the only left hand on the circuit is coming up next, and Koemans is going to pull back out in front. He is doing an amazing job here, holding off basically an alien driver, we would call him in the iRacing world, Jan Koemans. I'm getting excited just watching it. I have no idea how Frieders feels right now.
Looking to the inside while João Frieders blocks, and that was very close, almost touching, as Koemans now goes to the outside of turn 1. Not going to work unless he breaks really late and pinches, but it looks like he's going to fall back behind Frieders now.
Frieders did a very conservative line through the chicane. Koemans did completely opposite. He went for broke and he came up short.
And
he's got a slowdown penalty.
Over the hill into the final turn. João Frieders will win his first race, Sam.
Frieders gets his first ever MX5 Blondies World Tour win. What a fantastic job of it. Amjad Yaman got lucky on the final lap and got 2nd place from Jan Koemans, who falls to 3rd, which I don't think honestly is going to hurt him too much in the points. Jer Jarnes got 4th place and Trevor Mack got 5th.
For 4 previous seasons, the field sizes have grown larger. For 4 previous seasons, the competition has grown tougher. For a handful of drivers, the Season 5 championship is there for the taking. For most everyone else, it will be as elusive to grasp as a feather in the breeze. This is the Blondies MX5 World Tour. Organized by the Quality Racing Syndicate.
Hello and welcome to round 11 of a Blondies MX5 World Tour, live on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Reiman, and alongside me in the booth is Ayrton Ellis. Down in the pits we have Richard Losper and Stefan Overgaard, and behind the scenes doing all the button pushing is Giancarlo Lenzi. Obviously, before we start this broadcast, we do need to mention that all our thoughts and prayers are with those affected by the terrible events that have happened in this week in Boston, Massachusetts, and also in West Texas. But hopefully good times are ahead, and hopefully this should be a good way to start off for next week. Blondies have returned to Silverstone, Great Britain, but this time they're not on the full course. They are at the southern portion of the circuit, and they'll be doing 30 laps around this course, just under 2 miles per lap, 10 turns. But there are a couple of tricky things thrown in here for these drivers to navigate, including a very tight chicane between what would usually be Abbey and Beckett's, and also an unusual pit entry, and we'll get to that with the track guide in a minute. As far as the championship standings are concerned, you'd think it'd be a lot closer. Well, it is a bit. Koeman's finished third last week at Lime Rock Chicane, as you saw on the introductory piece. He now has 55 points over Amjad Yamin, the rookie, the doctor, gained 10 points on Koeman's last week. Rato is sitting third. He is a former winner at Silverstone South, and Frieders is 126 points back, which sounds like a lot, but after his win at Lime Rock Chicane, he actually clawed 26 points back on Koeman's last round. Anyhow, we've talked enough about the drivers. Let's have a good look at the circuit. Lap around Silverstone Southern Course by Ayrton Ellis, narrated by Joe Peak.
Alright, Ayrton Ellis is going to take us on a lap around Silverstone South. Now, this is going to be a little unusual because we're going to start on the final corner here. We're coming up to Stowe, which is turn 10. There's a little bit of braking, sort of a passing zone, but it's still a very fast corner. You want to get to the inside. The car's going to drift to the outside as there's a little bit of a crest. Don't get too far out or the grass will send you to the inside. Coming to the start-finish line. This is hard braking. This is going to be a passing zone into this left. Now the trick here as you come through club is you really want to get on the gas as soon as you can, because this is a bit of a straightaway here and you could be vulnerable, although it's going to be a tricky passing zone. You'll see what I mean. Coming down the straight into turn 4, you're going to brake at this access road on the left, and then these curbs are very large, so you don't want to hit them too much because you can unsettle the car. You see a lot of guys do that. You see Ayrton took quite a bit of them, but he was brave there. Coming down this straightaway, this is the part that's going to catch a lot of people out. There's going to be a bit of a kinked braking zone into the right here, and then you got a chicane coming up this right, left, right. It's going to be very easy to cut the course. You want to carry as much speed as you can into Beckett's. You want to get on the brakes, bring it around this right-hander, and then that will dump you onto Chapel, which dumps you onto the back straightaway of Hanger Straight. Long straightaway. As I said, you might get a chance with the draft to make a pass at the end here. Now, this is one of the most unusual pit entries. This is why we started you early. It's going to be this little access road on the left. You'll see Ayrton dive through the pavement right there. And now you got this big open space. You still want to try and hold on to the car. It's going to be a little bumpy. In fact, very bumpy. And you got to spot these two little cones in the middle of nowhere, and that dumps you into the pit lane. This is really going to separate the men from the boys, as you'll see. And it's definitely going to be an interesting one. It's an unusual course, a lot of chicanes, a lot of very strange parts of the track, but should be enjoyable.
Well, great lap there by Ayrton Ellis, but Ayrton, I couldn't help but notice that you did almost lose the car there coming down onto the pit entry. How many times did you have to do that lap until you finally nailed that? Because it looks like it's going to be very tricky for these drivers today who only have one shot to get it right.
Well, to be honest, that was actually my first time, but it is very difficult pit entry, and if you do it incorrectly, you can very easily get an unsafe pit entrance, and that may catch a few drivers out in this race. So that pit entry is going to rely on a lot of time, and the people who can do that correctly will gain a lot of time on track as well.
Yeah, we've seen drivers such as our points leader, Jan Koemans, who haven't run a whole lot of full laps. Instead, they keep coming down to the pits at the end of a lap to see how quickly they can get through that tricky pit entry. Practice just finishing off right now, and Koemans is not at the top of a board. In fact, it is Richard Ekholm, who we've seen a couple of times earlier this year at Road Atlanta and also at Okayama, who was up there in qualifying but kept getting involved in early incidents in the race, so we're really not sure what to expect out of him. But a 15-minute qualifying session begin now. You see the cars rolling out of pit road, and Koemans and Ekholm are up front there, so they should be able to get a couple of good laps in, hopefully. Well, looking at this board, Richard de Losper, it looks like, you know, we have some of the usual names up there, but also a couple drivers in the top 10 that we're used to, honestly, not seeing that high.
Yes, that's right, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sam, yeah, I'm looking at the board here, and a little bit of a surprise. At the top of the leaderboard, we have Richard Ekholm, rather than the normal name of Jan Koemans. The rest of it is pretty much as we are used to seeing in this championship. Guillermo Rato in third place and Jay Yanis. Amjad Yaman has got a good practice session. We'll see how the qualifying goes. So now it comes down to the wire, Sam, where people have to qualify and prove that their practice times was no fluke. So back to you.
Yeah, Richard Ekholm thinking the exact same thing. I guess it's something all Richards have in common. He's basically been saying, now I don't like being first because there's pressure on me to do well. I suppose he wants a pole position here. I don't think that's something he's got that season. In fact, one driver who's gotten a lot of poles this season, it was 7th on the board in practice, and that was our most recent winner, João Freitas, 7/10 off of Richard Ekholm. So we're going to bring in our fourth commentator here, Stefan Overgaard. Stefan, what did you make of these practice times so far?
Yeah, it's true that we see that João Freitas hasn't been quite up with the air where he was last week. Sorry, but we actually also see some of the lesser top guys, like say Mihai Mesesan, is actually coming to the top 10 in the practice, so that's also going to be interesting to see how he fares in the race and qualifying.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if we have any drivers waiting in the lobby who could be bored in. John Koeneman and Amjad Yamin are there, but I believe both are on course right now. Amjad Yamin, by the way, was a participant in the first ever GSRC hosted iRacing event, which happened on Thursday evening at Indianapolis. He got 4th position, in case you were wondering. A very, very, very lucky 4th position. He probably didn't deserve it. I think that driver in 5th, Samuel Reiman, I think he probably deserved 4th. But, you know what, we'll decide next week. So let's see. They're coming around to complete their opening qualifying laps. Who goes to the top of the board early?
It's Jan Koemans once again, who has the top spot. Richard Ekholm, who's showing a really good pace here this weekend, and yeah, Yanis following them. Those are the early qualifying lap times there, Sam.
Yeah, John Koeman's a 120.073 already. That's only 1/100th of what Richard Ekholm did in practice, and Ekholm had 2 hours to put on the lap. Koeman's has only just had 1 lap here. We've been told that he's been feeling a little jet lagged. He's been out of his country, Belgium, for a few days, but it doesn't look like it's bothering him a whole lot right now. And see John Koeneman going off there, and you can see the top 5, the top 10 names appearing on your board, but those are going to change within the last 10 minutes of qualifying, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on the Merton.
Yeah, one person that I'm actually interested in is Arthur Chan. He opted to practice very late and only was able to get into the 13th position when he is normally battling in the top 5. So hopefully, with the lack of practice he's had, he'll be able to get back up there in the top 5 pretty soon.
Arkadiusz Tedorix currently sits all the way down about 13th in the points. He has 2 wins in the Blondies MX5 World Tour, but we haven't seen a whole lot of him this season. He does currently sit top 10 on the grid right now, though, and it seems that he usually performs better in the race than what he does in qualifying. Do you think we could be hearing from Arcadius today, Ayrton?
Yeah, Arcadius is a previous podium winner at this track, and I believe Season 3, and his consistency will work very well in the number of chicanes on this track, where some drivers will get caught off guard and run wide or cut the course, as we saw from last season. So consistency is going to be a big mark on this race, and I'm interested to see if those fast guys setting low 120 lap times will be able to consistently run those laps and stay in the lead.
Yeah, currently Koemans is the only one under 120.5. I don't think that'll hold for long. I think we've got a couple of good drivers out here who'll be able to catch up with him. I'm watching Yarmin right now, trying to see when he's done with qualifying if we could interview him. But right now he currently sits 6th on the board with 121.0. And yeah, he's going back out on a new set of tyres to see if he can beat that. Who have you been watching out here in qualifying so far, Richard?
Well, I've been watching Arthur Chan, and he's up to 9th place at the moment. The other person that I've been watching is Sam McAleer, who is in 5th place at the moment. Now, he's a previous winner of this race in Season 3. Guillermo Rato won it in Season 4, and 2nd place was Jan Koemans there. Arcadius Tetrix, as has been mentioned, also featured pretty well in Season 3. So we're a couple of seasons down the track. These guys are all in the race as well here tonight. So it remains to be seen, as I see Sam McAleer's just moved up another place in qualifying time to 4th place now, Sam.
Yes, so he has 4th place right now, so it's Koemans, Ekholm, Dorado, and McAleer rounding out the top 2 rows. We'll keep you updated as that changes. Unfortunately, one driver much farther down the board than what we expect to see him is Stefan Morien. The number 81 car currently sits 18th on the qualifying board, and I think he was doing even worse than that in practice. But he is the Iron Man. He's been the most consistent driver all season, in that he's finished more laps than anyone else. So he's doing something right, and maybe this just isn't a track that suits him very well, Stefan.
Yeah, Stefan Marianne is usually pretty consistent. I think we'll see him finish higher up in the board than 18th once the race is finished.
Yeah, unfortunately he might want to keep his car out of a wall. We just see him made a mistake there in practice. Okay, so we've got about 7 minutes left of qualifying right now. Let's start talking about who our picks are to win this race. Because, like we say, McAleer and Rato have won here before, but neither of those 2 drivers have won a race this season. We've had 5 different winners in 10 different races. Couple of them multiple winners. And right now, Ayrton, it looks like Koemans is at the top of the qualifying board, so it's going to be interesting between him and Ekholm.
Yeah, I think I'm going to root for Ekholm in this race. The 2 races that he's done so far, Landmark Chicane and Road Atlanta, he just had some very bad luck and got into contact with other drivers. So I think if he can survive the first half of the race and be up near the end, he'll definitely have Jan running for his money.
Yeah, well, before I pick Koemans, I'll give Richard and Stefan the chance to pick him. Richard, who are you going for?
Well, I like the look of Richard Ekholm. I've been watching him driving around here. He's been doing very, very well. But I believe he won't do it today. I think he's a little accident prone, unfortunately. I do hope he does really well. My pick's going to be Guillermo Rato, the Season 4 winner. I think he's up to 3rd place right now. He's showing a turn of speed, and I think he may well do it today.
Stefan, how about you?
Yeah, I would have picked Guillermo Rato, but just to be interesting and not pick the same as Richard, I think I'm gonna go with Sam McAleer. I think he make a surprise this race.
Well, thank you, Stefan. That leaves me with Jan Koemans, because someone has to pick him. So I'll be rooting for him today, and we'll see if he can pull off his, I believe it would be his 6th Blondies win of the season, if he can do it. Funnily enough, the last race at Lime Rock Chicane was the first time that Koemans had finished the race this season and not won it. You saw in the highlights there he had a little bit of difficulty with the chicane. Ayrton, what track would you be comparing this to? Because honestly, looking at the way Stefan Morian's down there on the board, that reminds me, he didn't have a great race at, I can't remember what the track's called, Sebring Short. He was towards the back there. That was another track where they took an international course and basically split it in half. Do you think he just doesn't like his trickier tracks? Could this be compared to Sebring Short?
Well, Silverstone and Sebring are both very flat tracks, and both have very tight corners in them, especially with these chicanes for Silverstone. So that just might catch Stefan out, and definitely the short tracks are a challenge in this series, and this series has a lot of them, with especially having each track have multiple configurations in the series. So I think if a driver wants to run the series full-time like Stefan's doing, he has to get used to these short tracks, and he seems to be struggling quite a bit so far.
Yeah, funnily enough, while I was asking you that question, I just took a look down at the stats here. At Silverstone and Sebring Club, you say they're both flat tracks. The same 3 drivers won the podium both times. Koemans, Rato and Freitas. The only difference is that Rato got second at Silverstone, Freitas got second at Sebring Club. But as we have already speculated, it looks like Freitas, it's going to be difficult for him to pull that off here, because he is currently 6th on the qualifying board. And with 3.5 minutes left, let's see if we can pull up a qualifying board and see what the times are. Because currently, Koemans has half a second over Ekholm, and Rato Mikaleer is in 4th place. I believe that was Stefan's pick, and Gerdranis in 5th position. Now, obviously, one thing about qualifying is that if you run off course during your qualifying lap, your lap won't count. In practice, it's not the case, so I almost wonder if Richard Ekholm only got a good practice lap because he was running off course in order to do it, Ayrton.
Yeah, that could be the case, and definitely in the race you don't want to be running off course. I think Freitas is a little lower down the order, mostly because of these chicanes. At Lime Rock Chicane, he was significantly slower than Amjad Yaman, Jan Koemans, Richard Ekholm, those guys during the race, and that was because he was driving cautiously. He was driving the chicane much less than he would during qualifying or practice, and just trying to not get any slowdowns. And the drivers that can do that and yet still be consistent will be the ones that will be able to come to the top of the board during the race.
I don't quite know if you can hear me. I'm having a couple little connection issues, so I'll let Richard Losper take it over for these final few minutes of qualifying.
All right. Looking at the board, we've still got Jan Koemans up on the top of the leaderboard. Richard Ekholm is at half a second behind, so you guys have mentioned the fact that his practice time may have been a bit of a fluke. However, he is second on the board, so that doesn't mean he's slow at all. It just means that he's slower than Jan Koemans. Guillermo Rato is in 3rd place, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Guillermo Rato. Sam Mikaleer in 4th place is also right up there. And then the other normal or usual suspects, Giannis Amjad Yaman and João Freitas, who's not actually showing his best speed here. This must be a track that he's not all that happy with driving. Behind them we have guys like Benjamin Lanouette, Arthur Chan, who we remember did quite well at the historic version of this track. So we might be seeing some good things from him as well, Ayrton.
Yeah, and the drivers that are lower in the top 10, they're kind of drivers that we've seen come stronger later in the season. Benjamin Lanouette is one of them consistently in the top 10 in the last few races. Jean Koeneman has come back this season after a few races dropped out, and Arkadiusz Tederick's finally up in the top 15 for qualifying. Hopefully he'll be able to get a top 10 for the race.
Well, I certainly do. I do hope that will be the case. Benjamin Lanouette has just been quietly going about his business, and as you say, he's moved up the leaderboard in the latter half of the season. So let's see how he goes in the remaining races as well. Arkadiusz Tederick, we have spoken about a number of times. Joseph Aero is another one of those drivers who has just quietly been doing his thing. He hasn't had many great results, no podiums or anything like that. But certainly he is a good mid-pack driver, I would say. Eric Garcia, I'm pretty sure he'd be a little disappointed with his season to date. He has shown a lot of speed at various times, and he's just not been able to get up onto the podium or even into a top 5 finish, and although he does have that capability, I believe. Stefan, what drivers have you been watching recently, and who are the ones that you fancy as as contenders to at least get in the top 10 today?
Well, you could just look at the qualifying board, but I think one thing we also should discuss is actually I've seen several drivers having connection issues or blinking out. At least Joe Freitas and John Koeneman I've seen blink out several times, so that might play a factor once the race starts.
All right, guys, now qualifying has finished. We may just have a few of the guys just finishing off hot laps. But very soon they will be looking to start this race. We'll see the guys gridding up. I just wonder whether Sam is back with us. Sam, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I'm having a couple of blinking issues myself. Yeah, one driver who you mentioned, Eric Garcia, he is actually the only driver who is higher in the standings at this point this season than what he was this point last season. Anyhow, let's have a quick look at the qualifying board, Ayrton.
Yep, and no surprise there, Jan Koemans has managed to top off Richard Ekholm in qualifying with a 1:20.073. Right behind him is Richard Ekholm, and then we have Guilherme Rato in third, Sam McAleer in fourth, Jair Janis in fifth, and Amjad Yaman in sixth place.
Yes, and then in seventh place is João Freitas, eighth is Benjamin Lanouette, ninth is Arthur Chan, John Koeneman is 10th, Arkadiusz Tederick is 11th, and Joseph Aero is in 12th.
And just running through the rest of them, 13th, David Schaefer, Mihai Messerson in 14th, Eric Garcia, we've just spoken about, in 15th, Chuck Johnson, Stefan Morien, Luis Baboni, Ben Tucker, and Jonathan Keir rounding out the top 20.
Yep, alright, well the field are getting gridded and we should have we should be starting any second right now, and it is Jan Koemans and Richard Ekholm on the front row of the grid. And Koemans definitely has the desired line going into the first turn. We apologise we couldn't get the graphics up there to show you the grid, but hopefully your favourite driver will have a good race. And the lights are about to come on, and Koemans will be leading them away from Ekholm, Rato and McAleer. They're revved up. The lights are off and away they go. It looks like the front runners have had a good start. Don't know where Rato's gone. He may have lost the connection. That'll be really bad for him in the points if that's the case. Top 2 gets through single file. Top 3, in fact. Yamin is up into 4th position. And Freitas is coming in. Freitas is making moves already. Pushing Giannis far back down the order. I believe he's fallen all the way down to 6th already, Ayrton.
Yeah, these guys are going to be bunching up a lot in the chicane. Let's see if there's any incident or car contact. Lots of single file racing at the moment.
And apparently Arcadius Tellurix has already had an off, but apparently it looks like it's all clean so far. Koeman's still leading them as they come through the chicane. Obviously we won't have to worry about pit entry for a few laps, but that'll certainly mix up the order late in the race. Ekholm handing it with him though as they come down Hannah Straight.
And in third place currently we have Sam McAleer. Jay Yanis in fourth. MWTS has moved up. João Freitas is in there in sixth place. Disappointing, I am not seeing Guilherme Rato anywhere in this list, Sam. It must mean, as you said, he's had a problem with his computer and has to back out, or has had to back out.
Yeah, that is
very disappointing for him, no doubt.
That is indeed what's happened, Richard, and there's just been a change for fourth. Freitas in that new paint scheme. It looks a bit more like Koeman's car. It went up into fourth. Contact between him and Yarmin. Looks like Freitas will be able to get away, but now Amjad Yarmin is being challenged for fifth position by... I can't quite tell who that is.
Jari Ylimäinen looking on the outside, but now he's on the left side for the chicane. And pinching him, both of them go out in the grass, and Amjad Yarmin loses a lot of time, getting passed by Arthur Chan, and now Benjamin Lanouette on the inside.
And look at that, that's David Schaefer up in 10th position. Not used to hearing a whole lot of him in the top 10. In fact, he hasn't had a single top 10 finish all season. Wow, David Schaefer really doing a good job, and it's not like this is a home track from him. He is from California, but currently in 10th position in that number 56 car. Rather, it's
the big
back.
mover so far from a fairway back has been João Freitas. So we haven't spoken a lot about João Freitas. We must apologize that we may have discounted him for this race. He's currently in 5th place behind MWTS, and I think that in the absence of Guilherme Rato, who has had problems, I'll have to switch my allegiance to João Freitas, Sam.
Yes, he is in 4th place, Richard, but he is still about 4 seconds back of our leaders. But if two leaders begin racing one another, which they may very well do, he might be able to catch up, because Ekholm was faster than Koeman's in practice. Koeman's was faster than Ekholm in qualifying, but I don't know how accurate that is, because I think these drivers, this is not an official iRacing Series race. Your SR does not go down if you cut the curves. I mean, obviously you can't completely abandon the curves because you get a slowdown penalty. But as far as the race is concerned, you can use up all the track you want as long as you don't make a shortcut, and that may work to Ekholm's advantage in passing Koeman, certain.
And the draft on the Hannah Straight is definitely happening, helping as well, as Richard Ekholm just closing up a little bit every time they get there. He ran a faster lap last lap, so these guys are going to be nose to tail for quite a bit. Sam McAleer has fallen almost 3 seconds back now. João Freitas right behind him as well.
Yeah, David.
And we've just been told by the director that John Kuhneman has pitted on lap 3, so that must be a pit stop that was not required. He might have had a problem there, Sam.
It could also be a voluntary drive-through. I wonder why you serve at this track. It's such a long pit road. David Schaefer, unfortunately, beginning to fall back a bit now. He's got a giant trolley train behind him. Mihai Messerson has already made his way by into 9th, and there's a spinner. Luis Baboni goes around in front of several cars. Jonathan Keir in the Roadster and Peter Yerkser, a 3-car collision coming out of club. Meanwhile, while you watch the replay, Luis Baboni just getting a bit loose there, and there were so many cars bottled up behind Arcadius Tellurix and David Schaefer that they all just got into it. Meanwhile, keeping you updated on the battle up front. It's not a battle yet. Koeman's is still in front of Ekholm by about 2 car lengths.
Yeah, I've just been looking at that accident. That's a pretty bad one. Those cars involved will have a lot of damage and will all have to come into the pits for repairs, Sam.
Yeah, actually, Luis Baboni just took a tow. He wasn't able to make it back to the pits.
Yes, very unfortunate for those drivers. Beneficial, unfortunately, to the drivers who weren't involved in it. Stefan Morian all the way up into 14th now. I bet that's not the way he would have liked it. Arcadius Tellerix has gone by David Schaefer and broken into the top 10.
Yaman spun. Benjamin Lanowet and Amjad Yaman were fighting for the 8th position, 7th position in turn 1, and Amjad Yaman got spun around by Benjamin Lanowet.
That's 2 laps in a row that there's been an incident in a club. Actually, I didn't get to see the incident. Maybe it was in Vale. I saw Yaman coming. Oh, and Yaman has no control of his car. Going back down the straight, coming out of club, he just spun and hit the wall. And that is really, really bad for him. Unfortunately, he's taken a tow and is in the pits.
And that's going to hurt him a lot in the championship now. That's going to really secure Jan's lead unless he gets into a similar incident.
Yeah,
well,
a little bit of trouble happening early on in the race, which is unfortunate.
But there's a
for
battle
some
for the lead, Richard. Eklund has just taken the lead from John Koeman. Sorry, Richard.
That's fine. We'll have a look at that because I'm pretty sure Jan Koemans won't lie down and let him have the leadership for very long, Sam.
Well, I don't know about that because Eklund, I mean, he's only just came into it. Well, I mean, he's been in the series a bit, but he's only been racing the last couple of races. Oh, Koeman's is having a look. So basically, Eklund can't win the championship. He can only hope for for wins. Whereas Koeman's has got to think that Yaman's only 55 points back. Obviously, and Amjad Yaman unfortunately out of a race, so he has now retired from the session. So he won't have to worry about him a whole much longer, nor will he have to worry about Rialto. Really, it's all up to can Frieders catch Koemans then, otherwise Koemans may walk away with this championship. Frieders still in 4th place, 4.2 seconds behind your leader Eklund.
Yeah, and that brings a couple of other guys, Jafredis, Arthur Chan, Yanis, and even Benjamin Lanowet into the standings or into play. So it's going to be an interesting race as it develops. Bearing in mind we're only on lap 6 right now, so many more laps to go as yet. Looking further down the field, in the mid-pack, I'm looking at Stefan Morian, who we spoke a little bit about early on in the broadcast. He's up to 13th place. And Jake Tucker, that was mentioned by Ayrton, he's up into 12th place, and Eric Garcia just in front of him in 11th place. So the mid-pack is shaking out a bit as well, Ayrton.
Yeah, and Jake Tucker is actually one of the Roadster drivers. Actually, surprising enough, a funny story. He accidentally signed into the race with the Roadster rather than the Cup, which he was racing in the last race at the chicane. So he's a little frustrated with that since the 2 cars handle a little differently. So I think he was planning to be in the top 10 or even top 5 if he was in the Cup car.
Yeah,
well,
who knows?
Not doing
he might
too
even
bad.
like the Roadster and continue on racing it. But Sam, at the top, it's still Richard Eklund and Jan Koemans.
Jake Tucker just broke into the top 10, but then must have had an off because he's fallen back to 12th, and David Schaefer, oh, and now he's fallen even further back. David Schaefer was back in the top 10. Now Eric Garcia gets it from him. So there's still a huge battle going on there for 10th place.
Yeah, and they're quite a group of cars, and they're just going at it hammer and tongs at the moment. Eric Garcia seems to be leading that little group. Jake Tucker was up there, but as you said, he's fallen back. But up the top and in the front, we have Richard Eklund still leading from Jan Koemans. So he's certainly showing that he's got that speed to take on Jan Koemans and beat him, which is unusual. Jan Koemans is a past winner of a race at this track, although it was a different configuration. I'm interested to see how he will take this. Maybe he's just biding his time because it's still early laps.
Meanwhile, João Freitas have managed to get around Sam McAleer in 3rd position.
Yes, he has, and as soon as he did, he told McAleer, come on, follow me, let's go. I guess they're going to try and work together and catch up with Eklund and Koemans.
Yeah, I'm just watching Richard Eklund and Jan Koemans quite closely. Jan Koemans normally is an attacking driver. He will not stick around for long now. He goes really, really wide there and takes the place of Richard Ekholm again. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, sir. Yep, where Jan Koemans has gone back in the lead. We've already had 2 lead changes and they're only complete in 8 laps. This is a 30-lap race and pit stops may be beginning soon, Stefan. Is anyone making an early move to pit road?
No, so far the only people who has joined the pits has been the ones who have had accidents: Louis Baboni, Ahmed Jarman, and also Rato, who started from the pits after his disconnection.
Sam, I'm really surprised at how easily Jan Koemans took back that first place. He just seemed to just breeze past Richard Ekholm. So I'm not sure. I wonder if Richard Ekholm has a small problem that he's dealing with, or if he's decided to just wait a little bit and see how things play out. But whatever the case may be, Jan Koemans back in the lead.
Yeah, it could have been a slowdown penalty. You never know. I mean, there are a lot of twisty chicanes, but I mean, there's really no benefit in Ekholm settling for second. He can't win this championship. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch a pass. I was watching Chuck Johnson because he was up there battling for top 10. He's still in 13th, but he did have a bit of a moment a couple of laps ago, only hanging on to that position by the skin of his teeth. David Schaefer's fallen back to 12th, and he lost that position to Stefan Morian, who, despite all of us hammering him for not doing well in practice and qualifying, is up into 11th, Ayrton.
And that's where the consistency came in. I saw a lot of drivers, actually recently Arthur Chan, having to let Gir Janis by because he got slowed on penalty and won that chicane. So these drivers still have to be very careful, and although cutting the chicanes quite a bit will gain you some time, you have to be careful not to get that slowdown penalty.
Koemans
I
just
think
had
that's what's happened, because it was too easy the way that Jan Koemans took over the first place again. Richard Ekholm is certainly back up to speed and pressuring Jan again as I'm watching him at the moment. So I would say that you were correct, Sam. That was a slowdown for Richard Ekholm.
Stefan, a lot of cars down pit road. Who are they?
Well, we had David Schaefer coming in as the first regular pit stop, so it looks like he made the pit entrance okay, and he's just taking the left tires and going out again now.
I was watching someone running off at the first turn. Andy Morgan has fallen to 19th place, just getting a couple wheels off. It looks like our leaders staying out on the track for now, so no change in the top 5 yet. Gustafsson has also came into the pits after leading in the Roadster at Lime Rock. Not having a great of a race today, unfortunately. This pit stop dropping him way outside the top 20.
Yeah, there are a couple more in the pits. I'm struggling to see their numbers, but certainly it's very early pit stops on lap 11 out of 30. So that means 20 laps to go. Mind you, the track is not that long, so they should have enough fuel to finish off. Do you think, Ayrton?
Yeah, the track's very short, and the chicanes, it's a fast track, so these guys are full throttle for quite a bit, but 30 laps, not that much. We should see some guys starting to pit between 10 to 20 laps, so we're in the pit window at the moment.
Now, guys, I've got a really tight camera on Richard Ekholm and Jan Koemans. Richard Ekholm is all over Jan Koemans. He's certainly got the same sort of speed as Jan Koemans, and now he's attempting an overtaking move. He looks to the inside, and will he get away with it? I believe he does. And Richard Ekholm back in the lead again, Sam.
Yes, Stefan Morian has also came into the pits, and Sam McAleer in fourth, telling Frieders that he's suffering from connection, which I've got to be honest, guys, I was too there for a second. I'm glad you two were having a good conversation. I don't know if it's something wrong with this race. It seems that a lot of drivers are having issues and may not be able to make the end. Hopefully their connections will hold out for the last 18 and a half laps.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers here are from Europe, so, and this is a US server, so their ping will affect them quite a bit, as Guillermo Rato had some issues before the race start and missed the start, so that's a struggle for some of the European drivers in this series.
Yeah, and I'm looking a little further back to João Freitas now. He is about 4 seconds behind Jan Koemans. So if these guys want to make an impression on the top two, they will have to do it in the pits, because they're certainly not catching them on the track, Sam.
Yeah, Ekholm has actually gone back into the lead, Richard. So these two guys keep going at it. They're doing it very cleanly, and every now and then they're doing it behind our backs. And, you know, I wonder how long it's going to go on, as Lau Drool is also down into the pits, and I believe it was 3 wide going down there into Stowe last time, but it seems they all got through. Okay, is there a spinner? I thought I heard someone spinning.
No, what I did see was Sam McAleer going 3 wide with Simon Ears, a lap car, and João Freitas for the third position. So he wants that position, and I think he thinks he's faster than João Freitas at the moment.
And why not? Because when McAleer was in front, they were only 4 seconds back of Ekholm and Koemans, and now they're 7 or even 8 seconds back. And you could say, well, yeah, they've been battling for positions, they've been losing time. Well, so have Ekholm and Koemans. And now we're getting word that Ekholm may be pitting.
But these guys, they don't seem to have the pace of Richard Ekholm and Jan Koemans. Jan Koemans is now 0.3 of a second behind Richard Ekholm, so that's pretty much bumper to bumper. João Freitas, as you said, has fallen back virtually 8 seconds. So these guys are losing a lot of time to the top two there, Sam.
Ekholm does not, in fact, come into the pits. He stays out on track, so we'll see. Ayrton, what would you be thinking strategy-wise, as there's a car off there? Yeah, Hyro Kanaya. What would you be thinking strategy-wise? Will it be better to make a stop early here or later?
I think the drivers I think track position is very important on this track. The only real passing zone is the final corner, where you have a huge draft on the Henry Straight. So these chicanes aren't very efficient. I believe some drivers may be thinking of getting tires, some not. The best choice would be no tires, full fuel, and just gain in as quick as possible, gain out as quick as possible, because that pit entry is very easy to lose time on or gain time on. So that would be very important for the drivers to get right.
Yes, well, let's do a quick run through the standings. It's not going to be entirely accurate, because some cars have already pit, but it's as close as we can get right now. Richard Ekholm leads just to Koemans by about 0.3 of a second. Freitas and McAleer are in the 2-car pack in 3rd and 4th, and Jarnes rounds out the top 5, Ayrton.
Yeah, and then Arthur Chant in 6th, Benjamin Lanoret in 7th, Arkadiusz Tedoric's back in the top 10 in 8th, Mihai Messison in 9th, and Blondie's own driver, Eric Garcia, in 10th.
And further down, we have some of the drivers. I won't go on from position 11 at this point in time, but I just want to mention that some of the drivers that we really fancy as being top 10 contenders, like Amjad Yaman and Guillermo Rato, are very unfortunate. Guillermo Rato's down a lap, and Amjad Yaman, I think he's decided to quit for the day, because he's showing as being 9 laps down at the moment, Sam.
Yeah, he is, and McAleer is in the pits in the number 16 car. Left side goes up. Is he just going to take 2 tires and come out? It looks like a lengthy pit stop. It looks like a very lengthy pit stop, about 16 seconds there, it's telling me on my screen. So he is going to come out in 12th position behind Michael Gustafsson there, who I believe is actually a lap down.
Yeah, it's all shaking out as people take their pit stops. There's one more in the pits, and currently Richard Ekholm, though, and Jan Koemans have stayed out, so it'll be interesting to see the different strategy. I would assume that when they do pit, they're going to pit together, because that would be the sensible thing to do, Sam.
Yeah, Arthur Chan just hopping into the unusual pit lane right now. So let's see where he can come up in relevance to Sam McAleer.
Yeah, we'll keep a camera on that. Let's not forget last race, that Lime Rock chicane, where Yarmin... No, was it Yarmin? Yes, Amjad, Yarmin, and João Freitas came into the pits. Yarmin came in ahead, Freitas left ahead, and it wasn't to a difference in fuel or tyres, it was just a matter of different pit stop times, and that's essentially helped Freitas win the race.
Yeah, Arthur Chan's in the pits. We've got car number 8, which is Guillermo Rato. So he's still out there and circulating, but obviously a lap or two down. And we've got the other car that has not moved, so his race is done. I'm trying to get a camera on that car to see who that is, but I suspect that might be Louis Baboni.
Yeah, Arcadius Tetherick's just into the pits and out, and is there a 2-second gap? Is Koeman's in the pits?
Yep, Jan Koeman just went into the pits. The João
Yes,
Freitas,
Jan
Richard
Koeman
Ekholm.
is currently entering the pits as we speak, and let's see what happens. What does he do? Car number 55. So
Yeah,
he
Jan
hasn't
is also
come
coming in.
entirely to a stop just yet. What was
Yeah,
that,
Jan is-
Stefan?
I said, yeah, Giannis is also coming in.
He's taking left side tires, Jan Koeman's. Yep, just
And
2
he's coming
tires and
out.
going.
He's coming out of the pits, so he couldn't have taken much fuel, if any at all, there, Ayrton.
Nope, I guess not. He is pitting a little later, and Giugiana's coming out right now. Let's
Brulzan,
see.
the league organisers had a crash, guys, in the chicane at the end of the course. I don't know what happened, but there's been an incident on track.
Meanwhile, Giugiana's managed to jump Sam McAleer and Arthur Chan. So he now has gained 2 positions through the pit stop cycle.
Well, very beneficial to him, and we saw Koeman's had about a 10.9 second stop. Ekholm stays out, but I believe Freitas, when he won the race last week at Lime Rock Chicane, had a quicker stop than that. So it may not be over for Koeman's here. Ekholm may come out far in front of him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Meanwhile, Richard Ekholm, I thought he would pit with Jan Koeman, but it seems like he's stayed out there. So he's got a totally different strategy, Sam.
Yeah, perhaps. Benjamin
Yeah, he's
Manuel
currently
also
driving
in.
behind Stefan Morien. And, you know, he's going to be... And he overtakes Stefan Morien. Stefan's probably pulled over to let him by. So, not sure what his strategy is. 17 laps in. One would think that he certainly can't go all the way because it's a built-in pit stop with the 3.6 gallons of fuel. So, it's quite interesting. And I'm hearing from one of our pit reporters that Benjamin Lanowet has just pitted, Sam.
Yeah, I've been watching Giannis carve his way through the field like a hot knife through butter. I believe he'll be in 4th when all this sorts itself out. Richard Ekholm has gone around another time. I'm taking a look at Giannis's finishing positions. He only has 2 podiums this season. He's finished 4th several times, so that seems to be a position which he usually ends up in. Currently 6th right now, though, and we'll see if him and McAleer may actually lose time getting through all this heavier traffic. That's obviously something advantage for Ekholm right now, as he doesn't have a whole lot of traffic to deal with.
Yeah. I'm just looking at João Freitas now as well. João Freitas, do you know whether he's pitted, Stefan? Because I can't remember mentioning his name as having been in the pits already.
No, he hasn't pitted it yet, so he's lying 9 seconds behind Ekholm.
Okay, so the top positions number 1 and 2 as it's showing on the leaderboard at this point in time, they have not yet pitted. Jan Koeman's in 3rd place has pitted, so it seems to me, even though he's 28 seconds behind, it's going to be touch and go. If Ekholm were to come in now, one would imagine he might be able to get out before Jan Koolmans came around, Sam.
But he doesn't. Ekholm stays out, and
Joffred's in.
Alfreda's just entering the pits now.
Yes,
Yep, he was running next to Sam before the pit cycle, so I'm interested to see if he will be able to jump Sam or Jir in the pit stop cycle.
yeah, the Hyro Kanaya unfortunately has retired from this race, which is very unfortunate because he is one of the more consistent drivers used to finishing these races, and I think it was another case of a bad connection. Mihai Messerson also into the pits.
All right, so we're watching Joffred's in the pits right now. He's taken left side tires. Let's see. I'm not seeing the right side go up at all at this point in time. Must be taking kind of fair bit of fuel, Ayrton, because he's still sitting there.
Yeah, Gio Janis and Sam McLear have already went far by in turn 1. They are already on to turn 3 at the moment, so...
He's lost a lot of time there. That was a 28-second pit we're hearing, so
Ekholm is coming
compared
into the
to
pits.
Jan Koolmans, who did 11 or 12 seconds, that is going to lose him a lot of time, unfortunately.
Richard Ekholm is down pit road, guys. He just came through the cones. Now this is going to be a long pit road, but that's okay. Everyone has to go down it at the same speed at one time or another. A lap car coming in behind him too. That's Drake Tucker. I believe Drake Tucker has already been in, so unfortunately he must have had some kind of problem. Anyhow, where is Jan Koolmans? That's going to be the question. Who is going to get out in front with 10 laps left to go in this race? Should see the left side going up on Ekholm's car. Everyone's been taking left side tyres. Here's Koolmans. He's coming through Vale right now, and he'll be coming out of club, and I believe he'll have the lead. Yes, Ekholm still in the pits. Koolmans is now dominating.
And Ekholm leaves the pits just as we speak. That was a longish pit stop. He's currently under attack as he starts off. But he's got a bit of work to do now. If Jan Koolmans has passed, we'll get a difference between the two of them. But the leaderboard is showing about 17 seconds difference at this point, Sam.
10 seconds is what I'm getting on dynamic timing. Now, those cars that went by him are not for position. They're all lap cars. And Giannis, throughout all of that, is now up into 3rd place. McAleer and... who rounds out the top 5? Truck Johnson, but he hasn't pitted yet.
As we see a car... Whoa, and there's a car upside down in the chicane. Quite a bad accident. A couple of cars going wide and then on the grass, and then one car just flying through the air with the greatest of ease. Can't see who that was just at the minute. But a replay is going up as we speak.
Yeah, it looks like Peter Yerxa got into contact with, I believe that's the car of Low Jewel. So those guys got into contact. Low Jewel went around. Jan Koolmans trying to go around, and Gio Janis just collecting him while trying to avoid.
Yeah, Giannis so still runs in 3rd position. I didn't get to see it at the time. I don't know how much damage he has on his car. Hopefully not a lot though, because McAleer is still right behind him.
So looking at the blimp picture here, I'm looking at Jan Koolmans in 1st place. And Richard Ekholm a full 11 seconds behind, so his pit stop really hurt him as well. Jan Koolmans has done the right thing. He took a couple of tires, must have taken almost no fuel, and it looks like if nothing untoward happens to him, he's just going to run away with this race now, Sam.
Yeah, it's handing out at about 10 seconds. I believe... is Truck Johnson in the pits, guys? Because it looks like he's fallen down to 10th.
Let's have a look. Yes, I believe he is. He's got a yellow car. He's just coming out of the pits now, so that was a
battle for 3rd.
No, that's not Chuck Johnson. Sorry. trying to get a number on that. Some of these cars, with the colors they have, the numbers are quite difficult to see.
Battle for third. Mikalir looking to the outside of Giannis. I don't know about this. If he can hand with him, he'll have the inside on Club, but he can't hand with him. Giannis stays out in front. Mikalir going to try a crossover coming out of Club. I don't think that's going to work. Even if he does get a run on him, this is only a short straight here. But it certainly tells you that Mikalir is not happy following Giannis right now.
I think once we get to the hangar straights, the top speed of Giannis is severely hampered. So,
well, if they get to the hangar straight, right now they're running side by side. But like you're saying, Mikalir pulls out in front. Now, of course, if Giannis is damaged, this will actually help him a bit. He'll be able to hand with Mikalir in slipstream.
Yeah, I've been looking at Giannis's car. He's got a bit of damage on the front and on the side of his car as well. So it may look worse than what it is, because he's certainly still hanging in there with Sam Mikalir. Sam.
Yeah, and currently Arthur Tran is in 5th, so Koemans, Ekholm, Mikalir, Giannis and Arthur Tran is your top 5.
With Freitas just outside the top 5, and they are 30 seconds off the lead at the moment. So, yep, it certainly looks to me like Jan Koemans. Who was the one who picked Jan Koemans? Because you're looking good right now.
I think it was me. You all decided to go with someone else. Ayrton went with Richard Ekholm, who is faster than Koemans, is catching him a bit, but I think it's too little too late. Stefan went with Sam Mikalir, who's doing well, he's in 3rd. And you, Richard, went with Raldo, who unfortunately was pretty much out before it even began.
Yep, he is having breakfast already by now.
actually, it's a bit pity because looking at Guillermo Rato's lap times, he's right up there with the leading pack, but he just started a lap and a half down, so no one to race.
Yeah, actually, he's still in there. I'm looking at his lime green number 8 car. He's still running. Unfortunately, he's not going to be having a say in what happens in the results of this race near the top. So, Jan Koemans, Richard Ekholm. Now, we haven't watched Richard Ekholm for a while, so I'd just like to see what the attitude of his car is. Is he going fast, or is he just circulating at this point in time, Sam?
He was going fast, but I believe he's backed off a little bit. It looks like that lap time he ran a 1 minute 21.9, whereas Koemans ran a 1 minute 20.6. So I don't know what happened to Ekholm, but that's a 1.3 second difference.
Yeah, now Ayrton, if you were Richard Ekholm, do you push to try and make up the time, knowing that there's not enough laps left, or you just settle down for second place?
I would say I would push, because knowing Jan, he is vulnerable to mistakes, especially on chicanes. So all you need is Jan to try to pass a lap car, and lap car gets confused, and Jan, before you know it, is off the track and loses a lot of time, and Richard needs to gain that time. If he was just circulating around, he might not be able to use that to his advantage.
Arkadiusz Tedevix just took 8th place from Mihai Messerson. A small battle going on inside the top 10 right now. So we were talking about Arkadiusz being up there in the top 10 today. He's worked his way up to 8th. I can't remember where he started. But Mihai Messerson also 9th, having a fairly quiet race. He has only finished in the top 10 on 2 occasions this season. This may well easily be a 3rd time.
Yes, Arkadiusz started in 11th place, so he's certainly doing better than his qualifying time at this point in time. Mihai Messerson just following him, and a little further back it looks like Chuck Johnson at the moment.
Yeah, this is the closest battle on the circuit right now is between Tedevix and Messerson. We also would like to note that John Koeneman is now out of this race, and with all these retirements going on, it's lifted Raldo only up to 23rd, so still not having a great day for Raldo.
Yeah, João Freitas has managed to catch up to Arthur Chan for the 5th place position, so it looks like he might be able to get back into the top 5 after a very slow pit stop.
Yeah, Sam, this is looking like an interesting battle going on here. Arthur Chan and João Freitas, both really good, really fast drivers. So let's just stay with them for a little while and see what happens here, because João Freitas and Arthur Chan nose to tail at the moment.
Yeah, Freitas has actually been catching Chan. I believe he took 1 second off of him last lap, so
Hang on, he's blinking like crazy, Freitas. So this might have an impact as well, although he's come back, his internet connection's come good again now. But he was blinking very badly just a minute ago.
Yeah, and we wish we didn't have to speak too much about the internet connection, but unfortunately, you know, it's iRacing's version of mechanical failures. We've also got a battle for third in front of us between McAleer and Giannis are still going at it.
Yeah, and Freitas disappeared completely for at least 2 or 3 seconds there, so he certainly has a very bad internet connection.
Yeah, and that would be unfortunate if that decides the championship, but let's not forget that Koumans would actually be doing a lot better in the championship had he made the opening race of the season. It's not that he didn't want to or he didn't try, but all the pit stops filled up before he could get there, and that certainly hurt him in the points there in the season, but he certainly rebounded, and it looks like he's going to pull away at this point.
Yeah, we got another battle going on, guys. We've got Jari Ylimäinen and Sam McAleer. They are pretty much on to each other at the moment, with Sam McAleer leading, but Jari Ylimäinen is certainly right behind him at this point.
Anyway, currently with 3 laps left to go, Jan Koumans now has about a 12-second lead on Richard Ekholm. McAleer, Giannis and Arthur Chan round out the top 5, Ayrton.
Yeah, then we have João Freitas in 6th, Benjamin Lanomet in 7th, Arkadiusz Tedorix in 8th, Mihai Messison in 9th, and Chuck Johnson in 10th.
And just outside the top 10, we have a whole bunch of drivers that we speak about regularly. Eric Garcia, Stefan Morien, David Schaefer is one that we've only mentioned from time to time. He is the last of the drivers who is on the lead lap. The rest of the drivers, Joseph Aero and downwards, are all a lap down, Sam.
Yeah, we believe there was contact between Freitas and Chan in the battle for 5th place, but it looks like Freitas gave Chan the benefit of the doubt, and now there's a second and a half between them, so maybe he'll be a bit generous towards the end of this race and let Chan have 5th, although I don't know about that because, you know, Freitas is racing for points as well in a way. What's happened to Jari Ylimäinen?
They both there. Jari
Ylimäinen
is in 4th place. He's chasing hard to catch up to Sam McAleer. They are moving through some lap traffic at the moment, which is making life a little bit difficult. But Jari Ylimäinen is chasing hard, looking for that 3rd place from Sam McAleer.
We're coming down with 2 laps to go, and Jan Koumans with a 11.4 second lead over Richard Ekholm. So if Jan doesn't have any trouble, it looks like he may secure his 6th win of the season.
You have to say... Sorry, you go ahead, Sam.
No, go ahead, Richard.
I was just going to say, you have to say that in this series, Jan Koumans has been the consummate driver. And, excuse me, guys, we've got Jari Ylimäinen. He tried on the inside. He came alongside, but just couldn't make it stick. So Sam McAleer is still in 3rd place. Getting back to Jan Koumans, the most consummate display of driving skill throughout the series, Sam.
Yeah, most certainly. He has more wins in the MX5 Blondies World Tour than the rest of the field put together, and he has taken the white flag and is on the final lap of this race right now.
Well, Richard Ekholm challenging early, actually took the lead from Jan Koumans in a nice move early on in the race. Led a number of laps. I'll have to check exactly how many laps he has led, but he has proven that he has the speed, along with the other guys who have challenged Jan Koemans from time to time, such as João Freitas and even Aguirre Mirato. A new fast driver has appeared on the scene, Sam.
Yeah, Richard Ekholm. I mean, he's been here before, he just hasn't had the luck. Battle for third still going on, but we'll put our camera on that later. We'll keep you updated if Giannis does get by McAleer. Currently, Jan Koemans is leading, and he is on Hannah Straight. Just one turn separating him from the victory right now. That's the lap car in front. Here he comes. He goes by pit entry, through the long right-hander, through Stowe. Battle for third continues. Giannis has got third, but Koemans has got the win. The 6th victory of the season.
And going back, we have them side by side now, Giannis and Sam McAleer. They are absolutely side by side coming up to the last corner. On the inside, side by side, still side by side. My goodness, and it's going to be a run down to the flag to see who will make it. It seems to me number 37, Giannis in front. Have they crossed the line yet? No.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Number 37, Giannis, has taken the 3rd place there, I believe. Sam?
A great finish, a great pass at the end there by Giannis. He had the outside line coming out of Stowe. That gave him the advantage. That pushed him up in front of Sam McAleer, and that was enough for 3rd place behind Jan Koemans and Richard Ekholm.
Yes, quite an exciting race, but in the end, rather, I would say, not what we're used to seeing is the best way of putting it. Usually we're seeing them battle right up to the last second of the race, but not the way it's turned out today, Sam. And we've got some technical problems at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if you guys can hear me out there, but I think that's been going on all race. I honestly only got to see about 50% of it. Jairo Kanaya said that the reason he crashed was because he couldn't see anything on his screen for a moment. Rato, of course, affected with connection issues. So unfortunately, that's just something that has to do with internet racing. And once again, we apologise to anyone who lost the stream during the broadcast. We believe it's been a problem with this race server because pretty much everyone in the race had connection issues. And if you've been annoyed by it, I can guarantee you Rato probably feels a lot worse right now.
Not to mention João Freitas as well. João Freitas, we could visibly see him losing his connection as he was on track, following very strongly behind, I forget who it was, in challenging for the position. So people have had their troubles tonight. We ourselves have had a few connection losses, so we apologize to everybody in the who've been watching and been perhaps a little disappointed by the lack of continuity. Back to you, Sam.
Well, we're going to race results right now, and once again, for the 6th time this season, the 26th time in his Blondies career, Jan Koemans takes the victory. Richard Ekholm finishes 2nd, about 11.5 seconds back to be exact. Giannis, Sam McAleer and Arthur Tran round out the top 5. And then Freitas, Lanouette, Teddericks, Messerson and Truck Johnson gets 10th position, Ayrton.
Yep, and in 11th place we have Eric Garcia, then Stefan Morian, David Schaefer, Joseph Arrow, Andy Morgan, Jonathan Keir, Simon Ayers, Ben Tucker, Jake Tucker, and then Lowell Jewell in the 20th position.
And from 21st we have Mikael Gustafsson, then Guillermo Rato ended in 22nd, Jeremy Naylor, Peter Yekser, Louis Babona, Bill Sahn, John Koeman, Hiro Kanaya and Amjad Yamin.
And the last place was Kevin Stallings, who I don't believe actually started the race at all. So once again, a good race, Sam. are we? Who have we got to talk to from the podium? Do we have them available at this point in time, or are we still trying to get them? What's the situation at the moment?
Right now we're going to commercial break, Richard. We'll see who we have to talk to, who still has a connection when we come back.
Yeah, we hope so.
Welcome back to Silverstone South, where we saw a pretty exciting race put on here today. Unfortunately, connection issues every now and then. One driver I know certainly had an exciting race or an exciting finish at the end was Giannis, who we believe we can talk to him right now. Jer, are you there?
Yeah, I am.
Well, a pretty good race for you. You started fifth. You pretty much running behind McAleer all the way until the end there. A very nice move. It looks like you got him by just over a tenth of a second at the line.
Yeah, Sam ran into some traffic midway through the last lap, and I got a run on him in the back straight.
Yes, it was a very exciting pass, and we had fun watching it. This is third place. I notice you. This is your third podium of the season. How does it rank up there with your other races so far this year?
Well, I think it was one of my better races. At least it was fun to drive since I had someone to race against pretty much throughout the whole race.
Yes, it was certainly very exciting to watch. I mean, it just looked crazy out there. It looked like it was very hard to keep up with Ekholm and Koemans. Are you satisfied with this position? And how do you think you're looking in the standings? What are your goals between now and the end of the season?
Well, first of all, I'm really satisfied with this. I think it was a maximum finish for me. I don't really have the pace to race against Koemans or Ekholm. And, well, in the standings, I guess if Arthur's chance has a couple of bad races, then I can get past him, but otherwise there's not really much to achieve there, since I have a couple of bad races myself earlier in this season.
Well, thanks for the exciting race today, Giannis, and thanks for coming to talk to us. Would you like to thank anyone who helped make this race possible?
Well, I want to thank Blondies bar in Long Beach, California for sponsoring this awesome league, and no one else.
Alright, well thank you very much there. I'm gonna hand it over to Ayrton Ellis, I believe now, to interview our second place finisher, Richard Ekholm.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Richard, can you hear me?
Yep.
So you had the pace, you had the confidence. What happened in that pit window that you lost so much time to Jan Koemans?
I forgot to change the fuel to 2 gallons, and I took full fuel. I don't know how much time that actually cost me, and I stayed out a little bit too long. I was losing like half a second per lap on those last 3 laps that I stayed out. But I'm not used to pitting. I'm not used to these endurance races, so next time I should be able to get it down a little bit better.
Well, a good job on completing the race this time. Second place must feel good, even though you didn't win it and you're not going for the championship, but you'll be running full-time next season, correct?
Yeah, I should be able to run the full season, and I'm pretty happy to finish the race as well. On the starting grid, I sent Sam a message. I said, let's finish this one, because the last couple of races, we've been having some bad luck. We both had good races, I think, so it was fun.
Great, and on the track, I noticed there's like, when you and Jan were passing each other, you seemed to just let each other by. Were you guys just going easy, or were there effects of slowdown penalties in the chicanes?
No, Jan let me by because he wanted to get into the draft to save some fuel, and he didn't. That turn is really hard to go 2x2 through, so he just let me through. But when I let him through, I had a slowdown penalty.
Okay, well, congratulations. Do you have any sponsors or thanks?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, thanks for talking for us.
Alright, well, we spoke to third, we spoke to second, now it's time to speak to your winner today, Jan Koemans, his 6th win of the season, his 26th win in Blondies overall. Jan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It looked like you were having a very exciting battle with Richard early in the race, and then you had a bad pit. What half of the race did you prefer? Was it fun racing Richard, or did you enjoy the second half where you're pulling away and essentially running away with this championship?
Well, unfortunately, the fun part never really happened because in the beginning we weren't. I mean, Richard and I was trying to push, but we weren't really fighting. I just decided to let him by and just coast behind him in the draft, which was a bit better for fuel consumption anyway. I figured that I would try something with a pit strategy, and if that didn't work, then we would have to race to the finish. But the first part wasn't real racing, so I was kind of waiting if I would have to race him or not after the pit stops. But unfortunately, he's not used to doing pit stops, so he just took too much fuel, and that turned the rest of the race into a bit of a boring drive for me.
Our director, Giancarlo Lenzi, is asking if I may ask you about your... okay. Oh, okay, I apologise. He was directing a question towards Sam McClear, who we're going to interview after you. Well, it certainly was... It certainly was exciting to watch the first half, even if you were taking it easy. Do you feel that in these last 4 races, Richard, who are you most worried about in these final few races of possibly taking the wins or maybe even championship away from you?
Well, Richard is very fast. I've raced him before in the Mazda MX-5 Cup, and it's always pretty close between us. I was suffering a bit because I hadn't really practiced this track at all, but in any case... difference between us would be very small, much smaller than what the draft will give you. So we're always going to be in a fight here. So I really enjoy racing Richard. João Freitas as well, who I'm sure will be strong again. And I think points-wise for the championship, João probably has a better chance than Richard because Richard joined us pretty late in the series. So I think he has a long way to catch up.
Okay, well, thank you very much for coming to talk to us, John. Is there anyone you would like to thank for making this all happen?
Blondies bar in California. There you go, Bill.
All right, thank you very much, John. All right, well, we're going to bring our 4th place finisher into here because he almost had 3rd, but didn't get it quite. Ayrton, would you like to speak to Sam McClear?
Yep, sure thing. Sam, can you hear me?
Yep.
Well, you just missed out there on a last lap pass by Giancarlo. How close do you think you were to that podium?
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy race. Me and Gio were both racing, and I didn't know if he was going to be able to get it, but that last lap pass that he did there was just insane.
Well, you guys were battling out in a very close and exciting finish for us here at GSRC. I have also heard that you got new Club Sport pedals. How have those been helping or hindering you in these recent races?
Well, coming from the G27 pedals, it's quite a change, so it takes a while to get used to, but I've got used to them now, and they seem to be a lot faster and more precise than the G27 pedals.
Well, that's certainly showing a great fourth place finish, and your speed was very good in this race. Do you have any sponsors or anyone to thank?
Just StephenMacra.com.
Okay, and he did pretty well in this race, right? Road Atlanta?
I'm not entirely sure what happened yet, because the race was just starting as we were racing, so I'm not sure.
Well, hopefully he had a good result just like you today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Well, that looks like it then. That was round 11 of 15 of the Blondies Championship, and it looks like Koemans is running away with the points lead a little bit more. And with 4 rounds left to go, Frieders, Rato, Yarmin and everyone else are going to have to step up their game a little bit if they want to become the champion of this, the MX5 Blondies World Tour Season 5. We would like to say thank you to the Blondies and makers of all the various software and hardware we use for this stream: iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch.tv, Ava Media and Audio Technica. If you'd like to find out more about the Global Sim Racing channel, check us out at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, where we also have archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter as @VSR channel, and you can also find us on Facebook. Our next race will be the same time, same place next Saturday, where the field will duke it out under the lights for 75 minutes at Sebring International Raceway. You're not going to want to miss it. For Ayrton, Richard, Stefan, Giancarlo and the rest of the Global Sim Racing channel, I'm Samuel Reiman saying so long everyone, and we'll see you on the track.